Hello, it's Andrea, and welcome to another edition of, and it starts like this. Today's book is a fairy tale of sorts. It's called Princess of the Wild Sea, and it's written by Megan Blakemore. So without further ado, here's the first chapter. 3 days after Harbor Rose turned 12, a boy washed up on the shore of Small Island. While many things had washed up there, only once before had a child. The day of Harbor's birthday started off typically enough. Harbor ran down the hill from her cottage to the place where things wash up, hoping to beat Mr. Coffin, but he was already there. His pants were rolled up to his calves, his blue shirt neatly tucked in, and his straw hat was pressed firmly onto his head. He held a basket brimming with treasures. Harbor scowled. "Good morning, Mr. Coffin." Each morning, the two hurried to the place where things wash up. Whoever got there first got first dibs. Mr. Coffin reached his hand into the water and pulled out something black and rectangular. He turned it over in his hand. There was a hinge at one end and a seam all around. Carefully, he unfolded it. The bottom half was an array of buttons, each with a single number. The top was a gray bit of glass. "What do you got there?" she asked. Without looking up, Mr. Coffin said, "I don't need some freckled-faced girl taking my things." She brushed her fingers over her cheeks, which were, in fact, freckled. Her sun-blonde hair whipped into her mouth. "Is it an adding machine?" she asked. He said. "Does it work? Can you turn it on? Let me see," she begged, stepping into the water to get a better look. He dropped it into his basket. "It is none of your concern." Harbor wanted to tell him that, as a princess, everything was of her concern, but she knew Mr. Coffin would only laugh. She was a princess, but nobody treated her like one. Small Island was part of the lands of Lapistere. In her more melodramatic moments, Harbor described herself as an exiled princess. She would flop onto the ground and throw her arm over her forehead and proclaimed, "I am banished." She was not, in fact, banished. She was simply away from her homelands, for a time, for her own safety. Mr. Coffin splashed farther into the water. "Can I just see it?" she asked. Mr. Coffin stood straight up. "You are like a cat," he told her, "and your curiosity will surely be the death of us all." Mr. Coffin was prone to his own bouts of melodrama. She couldn't get her mind off that strange little black box, though. Mr. Coffin's unwillingness to share it made her even more set on seeing it. "Mr. Coffin, do you know what today is?" "Tuesday." "No," she said. "Well, yes, but it's also my birthday. And since it's my birthday, maybe you could..." But as she spoke, Mr. Coffin's face did something funny. It tightened and softened at the same time, like it was at war with itself. "I know." His voice, too, battled itself, soft and hard, rough and smooth. Maybe he was mad because he didn't want to be on Small Island. Maybe he was mad about having been sent there from Lapistere, and her birthday only reminded him of how angry he was about it. "Only one more year," Harbor said. "Then I'll be safe and we can go back to Lapistere." Mr. Coffin set his jaw in stony silence. Harbor retreated to an old boat that had washed up on the shore ages ago. Its hull pointed skyward, and she climbed on top where she absent-mindedly played with the necklace her mother had given her when they'd first left the royal palace. It had a tiny glass globe for a charm, filled with sand from Lapistere. She liked to rub the globe with her fingers as she thought. She stared out over the water that rippled and glowed in the pink morning sun. She felt that sun reach onto her toes, then her legs, then right up onto her face. Mr. Coffin grunted and groaned as he picked up and examined each item. The ocean stretched for miles and miles, and as far as Harbor could tell, never stopped. It had to stop somewhere, though. She had reasoned long ago. If things like mixing bowls and bicycle wheels had not been made on their island and hadn't been brought over from Lapistere, there had to be a somewhere else where they were made. Harbor didn't know where that somewhere else was or what it was like. They mixed ingredients there, she assumed, and rode bicycles there and poured water from pitchers. They clipped things into their hair, played with dolls and toys. These were things she could surmise. And still, it was not a complete picture. When she returned to Lapistere, perhaps she would learn more. Perhaps her father would even bring her there someday. "There," Mr. Coffin said, having put one last item into his basket. It was a green mug with a stenciled image of a woman in a crown. It was quite lovely, and Harbor was momentarily jealous. She imagined tea would taste very good out of that mug, and anyway, her family were the royal ones. Shouldn't they have the royal mug? Mr. Coffin took his basket by the handle and carried it up the path toward the village. "Goodbye, Mr. Coffin," said Harbor. As soon as he went around the bend, Harbor jumped from the rock and began her own search of the beach. She found a small toy elephant with a spring on its head, so it bobbled back and forth when she touched it. Next, she found a broken necklace chain and a shard of blue and white pottery. Satisfied with her haul, Harbor walked up the path, pockets full of treasures. The sun had risen on her 12th birthday. She was another year older. This was the year, she was quite certain, she would finally get her magic. Ooh, what a good read. I'm excited about Princess of the Wild Sea, and maybe you know the right reader for it too. Give us a call. We'll put it on hold for you or have it waiting. Bye.